Well, we've heard earlier from Turkish Foreign Minister Mevlut Çavuşoğlu, who said that the Saudis need to come up with the whole truth, and there are fundamental questions that need to be answered. Now, the view here in Ankara at this point in time, let's bear in mind that officials in Ankara are reluctant to publicly comment on this, except for, of course, calls for transparency from the Saudi side, as well as the whole truth. Now, the view here in Ankara is that the Saudis are resorting to delaying tactics. They're trying to delay this whole matter. For example, we understand that the Saudi chief prosecutor was trying to obtain the phone of the slain Saudi journalist, and he was also trying to get hold of the audio recording in which the journalist can be heard tortured, according to some officials. So according to the position here is that those are delaying tactics, and the Saudis are not doing what they should be doing, which is answering some of the fundamental questions. Now, obviously, there are also reservations here in Ankara as far as this ministerial committee constituted in Saudi Arabia is concerned, that was constituted by the Saudi king and is being headed by the Saudi Crown Prince, Mohammed bin Salman. Now, the reservation here is that the suspects, the 18 suspects, many of them are very close to the Saudi Crown Prince, including the case of Saud al-Qahtani, a former senior advisor to the Saudi Crown Prince. So the view in Ankara is that this ministerial committee is not going to be effective when it's being headed by someone who is actually a person of interest as far as this investigation is concerned.
And Hassan, President Erdogan was asking for the 15 people who were involved in his murder to be put on trial in Turkey, the Saudis who were involved, to be extradited. How does that seem? Does that seem possible? Where is it at when they talked with the Saudi prosecutors?
Well, the president had said that, and shortly after that there was a statement from the Saudis saying that they will be trialed in Saudi Arabia. Now, obviously, Ankara has its reservations about how fair such a trial can be, number one. Secondly, Ankara is concerned about the fact that some of the fundamental questions that should be raised with those suspects, the view here is that those questions are not being raised. There's a view that perhaps Riyadh is seeking a fall guy to try and cover up what could be quite a scandal, as some are putting it here. So Ankara obviously is taking into account all the diplomatic norms, and the Turkish side is saying that they have put forth what they think should be the case, that it should be investigated here. But at this point in time, they are focused on the technical merits of this investigation. And Turkish officials are telling us that the way the Turkish side has investigated this has actually put the Saudis on the back foot. So at the moment, it seems that Turkey is focused on the investigation, and the strategy it has adopted of selectively leaking information, officials here say, has been instrumental. So at the moment, it seems Ankara is not really pushing Riyadh on that part.
And Hassan, I mean, we are talking about 4 weeks now, because he entered that consulate on the 2nd of October, and the Saudis didn't cooperate. The Turkish investigators entered the consulate very late, and now we've heard the news from the Istanbul prosecutor's office that he was strangled the day he got in there. But let's remember, why was Jamal Khashoggi a target for the Saudis?
Well, there are a number of reasons, and if we are to go by what some of the friends of the slain journalist have said, he was critical, even though he was very supportive of some of the reforms that the Saudi Crown Prince has been talking about. He had been critical of some of the policies being pursued by the Saudi Crown Prince. Particularly, he was quite critical after the incident where a number of members of the Saudi royal family, businessmen and others, were held at a Saudi hotel. They were basically held there forcefully, and they were questioned, interrogated, and as some Saudi sources themselves have said, a number of sort of forced confessions were made out of them, and also they were made to strike deal where they paid substantial amounts to get out of that. Now, Jamal Khashoggi had been quite critical of that, and also he had been calling for more transparency in the Saudi society. That seems to have upset them. Now, he made a statement sometime before he was killed that the Saudis were trying to get him to Riyadh. They were trying to offer him assurances that he should visit Riyadh and he would be safe there, but he had told some of his close friends that he did not trust their assurances, and this is why he was reluctant. So obviously the quite obvious explanation is that it was his criticism of the Saudi crown prince in particular that perhaps seemed to have upset some people in Riyadh.